Hello, I'm Dylan, and this is my rating of the entire of this season and where my episodes are going. And I have to say, number 4, it's going to shock you. So, starting off at number 9, I am putting Empire of Death. The reason why I put this as the bottom is I just don't think it did anything. I don't think it said anything. It had 5 minutes of story being squished into one. They were just wasting time, I felt. And I think this season would have worked better if this episode would lasted maybe 2 episodes, right? And I don't think everyone should have died at the very beginning, because I just think it ruins the stakes. Because I think it would have been way better if there was some sort of apocalypse. We lived in some sort of dystopian post-apocalypse, and that was it. And maybe they had some more, like they did more of the Harbingers. Like that would be really cool if there was a bunch of the skull Pokemon people. I don't know. I think especially because this is basically what the Flux was, but sand. Then next is Space Babies. It wasn't horrendous, but it was kind of boring, and it fell through that sort of Nickelodeon CBBC monster thing. This is something I would have expected with Sarah Jane Adventures on a higher budget, and maybe even was meant to be a Sarah Jane Adventure, but sort of didn't work out, because like having a snot monster, I also thought the babies were a little freaky to watch. Then next, I have got The Devil's Cord. Now, this was a toss-up because I actually just changed that live. Look at that. Changed that live between The Devil's Cord and Dot and Bubble, and I just said Devil's Cord. So Devil's Cord, I'm not really that fussed on the music thing. I think it starts where the pattern of storylines or things just ending really, really quickly at the very end, and you're just like, okay, I guess it is ending now. The episode's gone on for too long. And I think this is a perfect example of maybe we needing a second parter. Maybe this needed to be moved into a different part of the series, because I thought Jinx was great, but again, they just sort of like straight away, like, oh, there's a magic fucking thing. Oh, the Beatles are going to play music. Okay. So, for my number 7, I have put Dot and Bubble. So, I originally thought this episode was kind of blah the entire time. It was a sort of run-of-your-mill, middle-of-a-series episode. Its message of, like, being stuck to your phone and not being able to function on your phone and everything like that was very... I understood what it was going for. You were then just waiting for the conclusion to happen. But what I didn't expect was the conclusion. And there were like weird phrases throughout it. I was like, that's a bit strange for Russell to say that. But then you start realizing that there were non-white characters, and then the sort of ending performance from Ncuti really made this whole episode worthwhile. That being said, it didn't save the episode. I wish it did. It being attached to the episode was sort of did a disservice, and it was. I think it's telling that the only part of the episode people talk about is like the minute at the end. And then number 5, I've put The Church on Ruby Road. So this was our intro to Ruby Sunday, and it was alright. I thought the Goblins was trying to say something more about the series. Retroactively looking at it now, it doesn't really matter, does it? That doesn't come to play. It set up the mystery of a woman who was there. But the Goblins looked really good. I thought the song was funny. I liked the song in it. I like the idea of rope being like rope magic, which now we think about it is a little hint to the end. And then, like Ruby was great to see. It was nice seeing. Then here's the one which I think everyone is going to be shocked by. I'm going to preface by saying this is definitely probably the best written episode. But at number 4, I've put Boom. Now, I know what you're saying. This is probably the best episode of the thing, but for what I want from the show and what my sort of taste is, Boom didn't do it for me. I thought it had the same sort of issue of the other episodes where it ended very abruptly, and and then there were elements of it which, again, now you look back at it, just didn't properly serve as anything to the larger plot. It was very sort of run-of-the-mill Stephen Moffat. Like, it was the most Stephen Moffat episode you could have done. Like the fish fingers of custard, or the weird like way the character spoke at the beginning, and the church thing came back. I was like, it is very Stephen Moffat, and whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. It's the only episode I haven't rewatched. I normally rewatch all of them the day after, and I haven't rewatched this one. And then number 3. So this is when I'm going to get really angry for everything I say next. Number 3 is 73 Yards, and I know that people did not like this episode, but I did. This is what I would say is the closest to Blink, surprisingly, than to other things. It was this episode where the Doctor wasn't involved. It was very experimental. It was like his own short film. Again, the ending ruined it, which really frustrated me, because why can't we have one good ending? It was good. I liked the weird horror of it. I liked the editing. I thought the editing was amazing in it. It was very disappointing that they couldn't do any sort of makeup to make Millie Gibson look 40, but you know, I thought it was one of those things where it's actually inspired me of my own short film that I'm working on. There's bits of 73 Yards which I'm putting into my short film. It's something I would have watched as a standalone feature. Then number 2 is Rogue. I just thought it was good Doctor Who. Like, it was a bit naff, but I think all Doctor Who's a bit naff, and it was naff and campy in an interesting way. It was weird. It was taking a familiar setting, a familiar type of story, and then putting a weird sci-fi twist on it. And this is the most Doctor Who episode I think we've had in this series, and I like it. And I like having the new version of Jack, making the universe feel big but also small at the same time. I wish it was a Slitheen episode, but I get why it's not. I also really liked that one owl dude, and not gonna lie, the whole episode is going up because of that one owl dude. Then number 1, I don't care what you say, Legend of Ruby Sunday. This was just good popcorn TV. Like, it was everything ramped up. It was very exciting. I loved the reveal at the end. Like, I remember being like actually scared at the end. Breadcrumbs being set up and everything was so good. Every performance was so good. It was so good. But then it was ruined. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna go back into that. This was just, I think, the best episode. New cool characters. I liked how the Doctor laughed at the time window. This was very much sort of the opposite side of what I would say is routine Doctor Who, in like a good way. This was sort of the weird fantasy thing. You'd have more of the fan servicey stuff, and you know, sometimes I like a bit of fan service. So that was my ranking of all the episodes. Give me a follow if you like this sort of content. And if you thought I was horrendously wrong, please comment below, because it helps me in the algorithm.